Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of Minecraft for the Missing, the show that brings you the mix of your favorite game with true crime stories. I'm your host, Uncle Coco. Just as a reminder, these videos are not meant to be disrespectful to anyone involved. This is just my way of sharing these stories and trying to bring closure to the families and loved ones that have been left behind. Today's episode isn't going to be the Iron Farm, and neither is next week's episode. I've had some things in life come up and I had to push that back, but I still wanted to make sure that you guys got something. That's the reason for next week's episode at least, but this episode is a little different because it's an update on the second case that we've covered on the channel, but we'll get into that in just a second. As you may or may not know, we live on an island and have a couple of other islands near us in this world. The one that's across from us where the ruined nether portal is, you may have seen in the background, it's not quite an island, and I only just realized it as I tried to go around it. However, there is just a small section that's connected, so I'm going to clear that out, and that's what we're going to do today. You'll see that we made a smoker and a blast furnace between episodes. I'm going to time-lapse going around to where the area is that we have to clear out, but I'm going to stop near a turtle early on, and I'll be showing you where the first zombie spawner is down inside of the hole in all that sand. So that's what that is. There's also another ruined nether portal that you're going to see in the time-lapse as well. It's close to the other one on the island, but this one is submerged in the water on the other side. We get some gold blocks and a golden apple from that, so that's fun. I don't remember if I mentioned actually that I burned all the trees on that base camp island down, and the cobblestone that's floating that you see on the small island, those are encased bee nests that I covered with cobble. That way that they didn't burn up in the fires when I set all the trees on fire. I really need to get terraforming done on this base island to make it easier to use. I'm not good at that at all, but that's something that I do need to get done. I eventually want to move our actual base onto the bigger island where the nether portal is, but after we get things situated on the small one first. I may work on the small island and get the ground situated on that one in the next episode. But sorry for rambling on for so long today. Let's get into the update. On April the 29th of 2022, I posted a video going over the strange disappearance of Lindsey Shobelock. We do have some updates in that case, and I wanted to share those with you. I'm going to go ahead and go through the entire timeline, including things from that April 29th video, and just adding in the new details as we go along. I also want to apologize for the way that I said Lindsey's stepmother's name in the previous video. I mistakenly was calling her Sullen, but it's actually pronounced Sue Ellen. I'm not sure how I mixed that up, why I didn't see that in the first place, so I do apologize for that. Lindsey was a 28-year-old mother of 2 sons, ages 3 and 8. She worked as a tattoo apprentice at the Iron Pen in Chillicothe, Ohio. She went into work on February the 23rd, 2022, and was meant to work until 6 or 6:30 p.m., but her co-workers told police that she received a call between 4 and 5 p.m. that day and left without telling anyone where she was going. The next day, which would have been the 24th, she didn't show up for an appointment at the Iron Pen, and her red Honda HR-V sports car was found on Windy Ridge Road in Huntington Township, Ohio, a place that Lindsey's stepmother, Sue Ellen, said that the family didn't ever go to. At least not often. Lindsey's wallet and ID were found inside. Authorities did a ping on her cell phone and discovered that it was close to her residence. They tried to get in touch with Lindsey with no success. Around 3 p.m., authorities went to the home of Lindsey's father John and her stepmother Sue Ellen to find out if they had been in touch with Lindsey. They hadn't, and they allowed police to go into Lindsey's home. Inside, police actually found Lindsey's phone and a note that she had left for her 2 sons. The police entered Lindsey into Leeds as missing, and the Ross County Search and Rescue Team sent sniffer dogs out to Windy Ridge Road to begin searching. They weren't able to search long that day because it was cold and there was a terrible thunder or rainstorm that night. It seems that there was a mistake in the articles that I used for the first video involving the location of the iPad, because the next day another search of Lindsey's car was done and the iPad was actually found inside of that and not inside of her home. The search and rescue started up again the next morning, including the canines and drones, as well as the Ohio State High Patrol Aviation helped in the search. Detectives also served a subpoena to the Huntington Bank, which was where Lindsey did her banking, They were able to find a photo of Lindsey using an ATM to withdraw money on Western Avenue at 5:20 p.m. on the 23rd. This would have been shortly after she abruptly left the tattoo parlor. This, along with the fact that Lindsey had mentioned sometime within the past month before she vanished that if she ever did start over again, she would go to New Orleans, this left her father with hope. Quote, "I'm still hanging my hat on two things. On the fact that she got money. First, she wouldn't need if she were going to hurt herself. And number two, there was no trail into the woods. There was nothing for the dogs to follow. There was nothing found by the drone or the airplane. So she got into another vehicle and left. Those are the things I'm holding on to." End quote. The family had been worried about Lindsey for a while before she vanished, because her mental health seemed to be in a bad place. She had become delusional and paranoid, believing everyone to be against her. Lindsey had spent 2 days in a mental health facility in January, but after just 2 days they had released her, saying they had no reason for her to remain in the facility. Lindsey's sister and Lindsey's best friend both said that Lindsey had been alienating herself from everyone for a while now, so she was more withdrawn and just wasn't her normal happy self. Everyone had been very supportive of Lindsey getting the help. They believed that she had stopped taking her medications though before she vanished. Police searched her house again on February the 26th, and they discovered a journal which mentioned New Orleans again, and there seemed to be clothes missing from her closet. Lindsey's loved ones sent flyers down to tattoo parlors in New Orleans in case she showed up trying to apply for a job or anything like that. Many of the parlors responded and said that they would keep an eye out for her. The family had decided not to go to New Orleans themselves at the time because Mardi Gras was happening, and they knew that they wouldn't be able to find her in those kinds of crowds if she was there, which makes complete sense to me. 2 days later, which would have been the 28th, detectives reached out to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, or the BCI, to assist with the case. They also traveled to the Huntsman Market on Blaine Highway in Chillicothe to review the surveillance video. At 5:51 p.m., they did see a car that matched Lindsey's drive by the market on February the 23rd. This would have been 31 minutes after she'd used the ATM at Huntington Bank. On March the 1st, the Ross County Sheriff's Office got a call from Lindsey's best friend. She had found Lindsey's house key in her mailbox, along with a note that included within it along the lines of, quote, "You'll be okay, and so will I," end quote. They were on the bottom in her mailbox and could have been there since the 23rd because she hadn't been to check her mail since Lindsey disappeared. In a new interview, John, her father, had said, quote, "She had told me it's inevitable, and I said, 'What's inevitable?' And she wouldn't tell me. She said, 'You'll find out,'" end quote. 3 days later was when the OAG shared her case on his Facebook page, mentioned in episode 2, when we went over what was publicly known in April. The following day, an interesting tip came in that Lindsey may have been spotted at a welcome center in West Virginia. The West Virginia State Police were contacted and went out to the welcome center. Unfortunately, the employee at the center wasn't able to access the security cameras. On March the 7th, the investigating officers tried to get video footage from the street where Lindsey left the key and note for her best friend. They didn't find anything of use though. Nothing of note was discovered in March, but in April, authorities started to get back information from social media and other companies that they had submitted warrants to. Detectives forwarded the data onto the BCI for them to analyze. On May the 9th, the Ross County Sheriff's Office got a call about clothing and property being found in the woods at an abandoned campsite in the 1200 block of Chester Hill Road. The Ross County Sheriff's Office and the Ross County Search and Rescue responded to the area, and they did locate human remains at that campsite. The Ross County Coroner's Office responded and sent the remains to be identified and to have a full autopsy done to find the cause of death, and I assume whatever else it is that they look for during an autopsy. The following day, on May the 10th of 2022, the remains were positively identified to be that of 28-year-old Lindsey Shobelock. Her remains were found only a mile away from where her car had been found. Her family believes that she possibly was hiding in a nearby cave when they were searching for her to keep from being found and to take shelter due to the terrible weather. She had no camping gear, and her father believes that she succumbed to hypothermia. The full results of her autopsy have yet to be revealed, at least at the time of recording, but the detectives say that they don't think foul play is involved. That's where the case stands at this moment. I do have a few final thoughts about this for the video, and I'll add any updates on Lindsey's case in the future down in the description, because unless anything substantial comes out, it probably wouldn't be enough for another update video. So, first off, I want to know who was on the other end of that last phone call. Who did she talk to before leaving work that day? Still want to know, but still don't know that one. Why did she get money out of the ATM if she's going to take her own life? What was the money for? Why couldn't the SAR sniffer dogs find her scent beyond the immediate area around the car? Was it actually the rain that caused that, as I mentioned in the first video? In some ways, this does look like a tragic accident, but in others, not so much. Was she leaving for New Orleans, like she had said, and something went wrong? Was she meeting someone and they could have done something to her? Did she actually take her own life? Hopefully the autopsy can reveal more about what happened to Lindsey. And I hope that her family can find some peace and not suffer too much because of this. I know that that's easier said than done, but that's what I do hope. Anyone with information is still asked to contact the Ross County Sheriff's Office at 740-773-1185. Thank you guys again for joining me for this update today. I hope that you enjoyed the way that I cover these cases, and if you do, just remember to do all the YouTube things, to share the videos with others, to get them out there, to help people find them. That way, if anybody knows anything, that they can have access to the phone number to get a hold of someone. But until next time, stay safe out there, and bye for now.